I remember being inspired by is Bruce Springsteen. Because I grew up in a family that were always playing music, and usually fairly loudly in the house. And one of my earliest childhood memories is singing along to Born in the USA.
My father played the piano, I played the piano, I played the clarinet at school. So I did everything musical really. I was a very musical person. I just did everything I could.
First get involved in making music, I think I kind of started writing some jokey little raps as a kid.
My first role after leaving college, I got a job working for Ballyrombare, not as a dancer, I hasten to add. And that was my first job that I would say, okay, now I am a professional.
We just used to play gigs for free, and that's what I thought was normal until I started a band with Steve, when he said, actually, you know what, we can get some money to cover costs, like at least the petrol costs. And that's when I was like, oh wow. Wow.
Hard-nosed businessman I am.
First time I received any payment from music was probably through promotion more than actually being booked myself.
And I spent that year doing what I would call pro-am. You know, basically I did jobs that were so small, such small bits of payment, but they were, you know, a little bit of choral singing here for money, a little bit of a session over here.
First got involved in teaching, it wasn't really a path or a plan, but my mother had been a youth worker and I'd always seen the benefit of that, so I started volunteering youth work. At a similar sort of time, I kind of built a reputation for taking some waifs and strays under my wing and kind of pushing them towards the stage.
We did our first record with Mike Crossy, who at the time was quite a new producer. He just finished making an Arctic Monkeys record and he was just on his way up. He was still in his 20s, I think, when we worked with him. And he was really good because you take what you've been doing as a live band, which can be quite rough and ready and sloppy. You get in a studio and you can hear every flaw in your performance and everything. He was really good at helping us tighten up.
All singers need a team around them of support. When you start, that's your family and friends who are encouraging you. Then it becomes your music teachers, so somebody who's got some knowledge. And then it might become your singing teacher. And this person, and you may have more than one singing teacher in your life, you know, you probably will, becomes your trusted mentor. It's very important to get that person right.
Yeah, really good sound engineers make a big difference to that. Really good lighting engineers.
Stage managers at shows.
Yeah, stage
they're
managers.
really important because it can make everything run smoothly or be a complete disaster.
There's more jobs for people who aren't playing the music than there are people who are playing the music.
And it was so enjoyable watching the young people go from nothing, from novice states to getting on stage and stuff. But the point when I realised that we really had something going on with the sessions we were doing was probably when Rizzle Kicks had 2 songs in the top 10 and they'd come from workshops in this room.
So I was on a path which was basically opera and contemporary classical music, and then randomly a colleague said, would I like to start a programme for young singers, 14 and above? And I've had a principle dearly held all through my life, which is if you can't think of a good reason not to do something, you say yes to an opportunity, you know, because that way you find out lots of exciting things.
Yeah, we just kind of said yes to everything for about 2 years. Any like, come play here, come play here, come play here, or we'd like to release a single on vinyl, and we just said yes to everything that came our way and just kind of got on with it and learnt on our feet, really.
And now I'm getting a bit more long in the tooth and I'm not so craving the limelight as much. I'm just really enjoying producing now. And from the years of being a promoter and from teaching half these youngsters as well, I've got a very nice catalogue of rappers to be working with now, producing and being a bit more hidden away in the studio. So it wasn't really an intentional plan, but I kind of landed on my feet with that, so it's all good.
There wasn't like a point where it suddenly things flipped. It just kind of was this gradual thing. As the more we played, gradually more people seemed to care, a few more people would show up. You'd go to some other town, the next time you go back, a few more people would come, and it just kind of gradually moved forwards. I didn't feel like we suddenly hit a thing where everything's
Yeah, we just kept playing until
changed.
people couldn't really ignore us anymore. That's how we kept saying.
For a teacher, I think a teacher needs to do an enormous amount of encouraging, and for a student not to be fearful of the teacher has to be giving information, skill, pointing the direction to other paths, possibilities for performing, possibilities to learn from other people. They have to be very open-minded with the student and try and signpost where the next step might be for that student.
I think my advice for music teachers would be to never consider anything a fad or a kind of flash in the pan kind of thing, because that's certainly what happened to me.
If I was a teacher, I'd be encouraging people to get on and play, not telling them to have lessons and learn scales. I'd be saying, go and play music with other people as often as you possibly can and learn with other people.
So to me, you have to have three things. You have to have input from some expert. So as a singer, that's usually a vocal teacher. You then have to have the ability to practice on your own, so that you experiment with the things that the teacher is suggesting you do. And then you have to have a performance. And each one of those three things is hugely important. So you need input, you need solitary practice to work stuff out, and then you need to be able to perform it without worrying about the technical aspects. And if you can do that ad infinitum to the end of your life, you'll make progress.
Oh, actually, here's a good way to tie it up. I met Bruce Springsteen backstage. There you go, I can pick that as my favourite. And he was nice and he shook my hand and he was very sweaty.